Good evening. Regular meeting of the City Council held in council chambers on Thursday, February 28, 2019 at 7:05 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on February 26, 2019 at 11:17 a.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. Please silence your cell phones, please. All councilors present. Council President Steve Dibble presided. Councilor Fury moved to dispense of the reading of the record of the previous meeting. President Dibble requests that the Surgeon family please join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. But would all please rise with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by our Purple Heart family. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I see a motion to suspend the rules to allow the mayor and the chief. So moved. So moved. Mayor Driscoll, Chief, please come join us.
Thank you, Council President Dibble. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. It's great to see a packed chamber with so many smiling faces and young families. We are here as part of a regular meeting, but we have the pleasure at the beginning of the meeting to be in a position to swear in several new firefighters as well as perform swearing in ceremonies for several promotions. And it's a really special night when something like that happens. It's a major milestone, certainly for our new firefighters being sworn in, and for folks being promoted to a superior officer position. For the new firefighters, some of you still, I think, may have a bit more time in the academy. No, maybe? Yes, right? 1 week left, home run stretch. But this day is really the beginning of a journey for you that may help define not only your career, but your life. You're entering the ranks of public service for our city and starting a proud profession in public service. We know there'll be sacrifices made by you and members of your family, and that you'll have to work hard in sometimes dangerous conditions. Along the way, as a community, we'll do our best to train and equip you, to keep you safe and effective. We're definitely grateful you've signed up to answer the call and give back to our community. And so grateful that family members who are here are along on this journey. We know it's not ever one person who's involved in a position like this, but many that make an individual successful. So thank you for that. To the individuals being promoted to new superior ranks in the fire departments, and Chief Genta is going to go through and provide a little bit of information about all of the individuals here today. We want to thank you for stepping up to take a leadership role in the department. We know it takes time, talent, skills, and extra training to reach this rank. We're grateful for your willingness to take on a leadership role in the department. We're counting on you to not only provide solid management, but really help set a positive culture, serve as good role models, and help guide and shape the important work that you do each and every day. Congratulations on this appointment, and we're looking forward to working with you in this new position. And kudos to all of the families. To get to this position, we know it takes a lot of time studying away from family activities, and we appreciate the sacrifices that you're making to help your loved ones reach this rank. It's my pleasure to really welcome Chief Genta here. I think we're really fortunate to have a tremendous leader, a real firefighters chief that is working hard to make sure that you have all the not only training and equipment, staffing and expertise needed to be very successful in your job. And with that, I'd ask Chief Genta to come forward and share a little bit more information.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I would like to thank Mayor Driscoll for her support and performing the swearing-in ceremony tonight. I'd also like to thank Council President Stephen Dibble for allowing us to hold this event in the City of Salem Council Chambers. I would also like to thank all the councilors of Salem for sharing your time with us tonight. I am very honored tonight to be witnessing the swearing-in of 5 individuals that are taking the oath. We have all been given an incredible gift to be able to serve others in our daily profession, with the ultimate reward of being able to possibly save a life. And with that, I'd like to introduce our new officers and firefighters. Starting to my right, hired on May 1st, 1993, promoted to lieutenant on January 11, 2003, and promoted to captain on January 26, 2008, Deputy Chief John Payne. Hired on July 31st, 2010, promoted to lieutenant July 30th, 2016, Captain Benjamin Potvin. Hired on October 10th, 2009, Lieutenant Seth Haggerty. Hired on August 4th, 2018, and graduating from the Massachusetts Fire Academy next week on March 8th, firefighter Matthew Gifford. Hired on December 15, 2018, transferred from Winchester Fire. John is a paramedic, a hazardous materials technician, and instructor at the MFA, Mass Fire Academy, firefighter Jonathan Tebow. I'd just like to thank everybody for being here tonight, and as I'll reiterate what the mayor said, it takes a family of people for one firefighter to do what he does. They give up a lot during their careers. They miss a lot of birthdays, a lot of Christmas times, and a lot of other holidays. And we thank the families for sharing these gentlemen with us.
So just before we get started on the official part of the ceremony, which is the actual swearing in, just want to recognize on behalf of the City of Salem again how grateful we are to have you taking leadership roles, to be joining our department, and look forward to many, many years of success in working with you. And I'd ask the Chief to step forward and each of you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. There's going to be a break after I say aye. You're going to fill in your name, and then you're going to fill in your rank. You have to teach the young guys. So please raise your right hand, repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as firefighter. Acting to the best of my ability and understanding. Agreeably with the Constitution and laws. Of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And the Charter and ordinances. Of the City of Salem. So help me God. I. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution. Of the United States. So help me God. Congratulations.
I'll need to head over to sign the book here.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Move for a 2-minute recess, please.
So moved. We are on recess. Back in session. Councilor Fury moved to dispense of the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move out of order, move that we move out of order to page 13, to the resolution.
Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Peterson.
Mr. President. City of Salem in City Council, February 28th, 2019. Resolution. Whereas Nelson Sparky Nersazian served his country with honor, courage, and sacrifice as a U.S. Coast Guard gunner on the USS Leopold, DE 319, and whereas he was one of 28 survivors of a crew of 199 when the ship was sunk in action in the North Atlantic on March 9, 1945, in what amounted to the worst combat loss in U.S. Coast Guard history. And whereas Saturday, March 9th, 2019 is the 75th anniversary of the torpedoing and sinking of the USS Leopold, after which he and his fellow crew members spent many hours in the cold water of the Atlantic before being rescued. And whereas on his return to Salem after the war, he became a beloved fixture in Tully Square as the proprietor of Nelson's Spa and a friend, confidant, and campaign manager for former city councilor and state representative J. Michael Ruane. And whereas he was born, raised, and lived in Ward 3 in Salem, and that the story of his experiences aboard the USS Leopold were captured and preserved in the book Never to Return by co-authors Randall Peffer and Sparky's brother, Colonel Robert Narcisian, also of Salem. And whereas he was posthumously awarded the Purple Heart at a ceremony on Winter Island in 2011 for his courageous service to our country. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Salem recognizes and honors Mr. Narcisian's military service as well as that of his fellow crew members who gave their lives in service. And be it further resolved that this resolution be made a matter of record of these proceedings, and that a suitable copy along with the city seal be presented to his family in his memory and with gratitude from the City of Salem in recognition of his remarkable military service to our country. And I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Yes, thank you very much. We have Mr. Narcisian's family here tonight, and I'm excited to be able to present this city seal to them. And we are also really honored to be able to see, I'll show off the actual Purple Heart here. I've never held one before. Very exciting. Wow. So I just want to say thank you very much, and I want to let everybody know that on the anniversary, with the anniversary coming up, that the city has planned an event to recognize that anniversary at the VFW 95 Derby on March 14th from 5 to 7, and there'll be a book reading and watching some historical clips related to the event. So that'll be a great time. I encourage everyone to try to go to that. And I ask for suspension of the rules.
Sure, before you do that,
Yes.
I'd like to see if there's any further discussion.
Is there any other discussion? Thank
Any
you.
further? Council Fury.
If I may, tonight is a night of heroes for Salem, a great night for heroes, for the firefighters and the firefighters' family. It's an absolute night for heroes, to celebrate the best of Salem. There are heroes among us, and this family is a family of heroes. Councilor Gerard and I have had the opportunity and privilege to know retired Colonel Robert Narcisian, Doctor of Dental Surgery at the Salem YMCA, Councilor Gerard and I, and he's such a humble man, a humble, graceful, kind, professional man. Not only is he a retired colonel, recognizing his brother tonight and his family tonight, not only as a doctor in dental surgery, but as a concert violinist in the Salem Philharmonic. What talent there is in Salem, what heroes there are. And tonight, there is a night of heroes, whether it's the firefighters that we just celebrated tonight in this Narcisian family. I grew up across the street from Sparky's store, Choke Memorial, Salem Fire Department, Bahi's cleaning store, Super Sub that I lived above, Super Sub shop, and Sparky's store. It was a family of real neighborhood store to buy and to socialize among neighbors and friends. It is now Mandy's Pizza for many of us who recognize it. Salem has had a host of family stores over the years, but this is one of the most remarkable families to run a family store. And I had the pride and joy of going to Sparky's store when I was growing up. Michael Wayne also worked in a family store down the street, Michael Wayne, as we mentioned his name tonight. Sparky was such a giant and quiet hero among heroes. I never knew as a young boy going into a store daily, across the street, I stopped by and talking to him, what an incredible hero he was. I truly love history, heroes, and he was a hero among us, a quiet hero. I admire heroes now and then. Tonight, Salem shines for heroism and bravery. From our family of firefighters that we recognized and respected tonight to the Narcisian family. It is a rare occurrence that we allow a family to do a Pledge of Allegiance. Well, what better honor to do a Pledge of Allegiance tonight with the Nastasian family. I think all of us are having goosebumps tonight for the firefighters' families, even the role models around us, the heroes among us in this oldest city council chamber in the country. Councilor Gerard and I really have great memories every day you come in. The Explorers Club, I went down to the Explorers Club and saw Bob speak about his brother in this book. There wasn't a dry eye in the house, Bob, sincerely. Packed house that day, and I learned more about your brother, the real hero, the hero. The Greatest Generation, Tom Brokaw wrote a beautiful book about the greatest generation. The Greatest Generation gave sacrifice above and beyond the call of duty. This book that I have in my hand and I read with tears, Never to Return, surviving the worst combat loss in the history of the U.S. Coast Guard. Salem takes great pride in the Coast Guard history. We had a Coast Guard base in Salem. The harrowing tale of the torpedoing and sinking of the Coast Guard ship and the loss of 171 guardsmen off the coast of Iceland at the end of World War II. If I may read no better words right from the hero, my hero today, and I think a hero to all of us, Bob. May I read to your brother, if I may, from the book, Never to Return. I get goosebumps reading this. Thanks, Bob. In 2011, our family and friends gathered at Winter Island in Salem, Massachusetts for a Coast Guard ceremony to award Sparky the Purple Heart he had earned so long in the field in the cold, dark seas south of Iceland during World War II. This could have ended the story. Sparky had his award. Our family, many of them tonight here, could have walked away and gotten on with our lives. But what about the lives of all those who perished on that moonlight night in 1944? What about the 28 who survived? Were the others alive? If so, they had stories and nightmares that needed answers. Where were the awards? Who would provide answers for their families? Did they deserve the same recognition that had just been given Sparky, a Purple Heart? What about the men of the USS Joyce who plucked the survivors out of the cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean? I knew the answer. This is Bob's own words. I knew the answer. Sparky was not just my brother. He was my best friend, my mentor, my coach, my best man. At 21 years old, he was thrust into World War II. Inexperienced and naive, he had been with friends terribly wounded in combat in the open seas. He had seen friends drown. He had seen them die of exposure. Seen few just swim off, never to be seen again. It was a quantum test of survival, a test he endured every day for the rest of his life. The records were wrong. There were living survivors. There were more stories to be told, truths to be unearthed. This book, Never to Survive, this book is an attempt to tell those stories of tragedy, miraculous survival, heroism, to honor all those who died and those who survived. The narrative also offers the possibility of closure for those who survived and for all the families of the missing veterans who have spent countless moments wondering how and why. Colonel Nastasian, thank you very much for your heroism in the war and to your family. I have the greatest memories of going to your store and buying, my family did. It's one of the treasures of Salem. Salem is a city of neighborhoods, and yours was a neighborhood store, and your family was a family of heroes. And tonight, it's a city of heroes. And thank you for being a part of it. I get goosebumps reading this, and when I saw you speak at the Explorers that morning on 10 Federal Street, I got goosebumps. And I hope all of us get goosebumps. We need heroes, and there are heroes among us, whether they're firefighters or police officers, veterans, many veterans in this very chamber, many of the heroes on the walls tonight. More than ever do we need heroes. And thank you very much. Thank you to the Nastasian family. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor, for sharing that. I'll be buying the book tomorrow. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilor Fury pretty much said everything, but I also just wanted to say how honored I am that we can all be here to remember your brother. And One of the great things, because I know you as Dr. Bob, that when Dr. Bob would come into the Y and we would talk so much about everything that you worked on for years to get this book done, and I'm so happy that we have it now. And and exactly what Councilor Ferry said, this really is a treasure. And I will also say, if people are interested in learning more, a few years ago, Dr. Bob was kind enough to volunteer on one of the Friends of Green Lawn tours, and that was recorded. I hope most of you, or many of you may know the Silvas, Frank and Marianne, who volunteer at SATV, and they're also part of the Friends of Green Lawn, and so they recorded that tour, and they have recorded some stories about Sparky as well. So thank you so much, and thank you for this, and God bless you all.
Any further discussion? On the motion by Councilor Peterson for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Councilor Peterson, will you please present it at the lectern, please? Councilor Peterson.
I want to invite the family up to present this city seal.
Thank you. Mr. President,
Councilor McCarthy.
I move suspension of the rules so to allow,
So,
if you so choose, a few words.
I would love to. First off, let me express my gratitude to Lisa for the work she has done, to Bill McGall, to Mayor Driscoll, and to the entire council. My brother, God rest his soul, was an institution in this town back in the 50s, 60s, and into the 70s for those who knew him. The book was written not just as a favor to a big brother, but to the crew he served with. These were kids. They were as young as 16 on that ship. And quite a few of them never got back home after that second voyage. I think the driving impetus to do this book was one event, and Tom will know, and those who have read the book. If you go down Essex Street and you're at Mandy's, back in the older days, next to Mandy's was a Shell gas station owned by the Litwin family. And next to that was a private home on the corner of Essex and North Pine Street. When my brother was taken out of the ice-cold waters of the Atlantic after 4 or 5 hours, literally almost frozen to death, and put on the deck of the Joyce, somebody tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Sparky," which was a nickname he got from basic training in Manhattan Beach with the world heavyweight champion. He didn't last more than about 3 seconds, but he at least sparred with him. "What can I get you?" And my brother said, "I would love a shot of whiskey." And he looked up, and there was this fellow named Richard Henry. And it took a lot of research to prove that it was Richard Henry, but it was. Richard had just graduated MIT and was a lieutenant on the USS Joyce, which was the rescue ship. That's okay. My other brother was serving, and he'll be 95 this July. Talk about World War II veteran, served in China and India. Talk about a different war. Maybe that's the next book. But in either case, he looks up and he sees Richard Henry. My other brother was 2 years behind him at MIT. And unbelievable, because that house, a gas station away from Mandy's, which was then my brother and father's store, his father was Dr. Thomas Henry, who was an institution in this town and delivered all 5 of us kids. Wow. You're in the middle of World War II, and the first person you see being rescued is your neighbor. How many millions of people were in uniform, and they didn't even know they were on sister ships? That forced me to go. And it's been a long ordeal. It took about 7 years, a lot of research. I have a great co-author in Randy Pfeffer, and I want to really express my gratitude.
Thank you.
And
Honor is ours.
thank you.
Gibson.
Mr. President, I move that we take a 1-minute recess to take a photo with the family.
So moved. We're in recess. Your attention, please.
Put a little flag again.
Mayor Driscoll and Lisa, I want to get the right one to each one. Mayor?
Thank you.
No excuse not to read. I want you to give Billy his book back.
Okay.
This is you. And for any of you who really like any kind of nautical history, there is one destroyer escort left on planet Earth. It's in Albany, New York. Legault and I spent a couple of frivolous days up there painting and scraping, but it has been totally restored, all at private money. This calendar is the 2019 calendar, and it lists every destroyer escort that was sunk in World War II. The Leopold was the first of that. So if anybody would like a calendar, no, I'm not selling them, but get a hold of the USS Slater. They're on the internet. They'd be glad to sell you one. I don't know what the price is. I just know I sponsored it. So. We got to keep history alive one way or another. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
Take a photo. You're going to hold that up, and we're going to take a photo with you.
We're on to public testimony. When you please come up, please state your name and address for the record. We'll be assigning a 1-minute maximum for each speaker. Our assistant clerk will hold up a red card when you're 10 seconds away from your 1 minute, and a buzzer will actually go off as well. So please try to adhere to that. First tonight, we have a long list. Timothy Jenkins would first.
Thank you, Councilor Dibble. Thanks so much to your fellow councilors. We support the preservation, we being Historic Salem, sorry. And I'm Tim Jenkins, 18 Broad Street, getting this all backwards. HSI supports preservation and appropriate reuse of historic buildings in the city of Salem, and greatly appreciates the efforts of the City Council, the Planning Department, and members of the community to create an ordinance that will provide for reusing historic municipal and religious properties here. We support the intention of the ordinance and the legislative work by the council thus far. As you consider the recommendations of the OLA subcommittee, we ask you to consider the following comments. 1, recognizing the OLA subcommittee's removal of new construction allowances from the draft, we appreciate the need for wording to allow potential minor exterior alterations for utilities and accessibility requirements. Alterations to the historic structures, when allowed under this ordinance, will need to be considered carefully, and it would be appropriate for Salem Historical Commission to be empowered to approve or reject exterior changes rather than being limited to an advisory role by the planning board. And 2, really quickly, should new construction allowances ultimately be included in the final ordinance, we will continue to advocate for the underlying zoning to prevail and to retain the DRB advisory role and the SHC approval requirement. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Tyler Terry.
Hi. Tyler Terry, 22 School Street. I like the version of the ordinance that came out today. A couple of issues. I don't like the language around the resident parking. To fulfill these requirements seems to undermine the sort of universality of the not eligible for. In the first paragraph of the parking, there's still a reference to new construction. And then in 873 eligibility, to clarify that square footage applies to each building individually, you should put an each at the end of that, bullet 2. I'd like to see some language added to bullet 3 to exclude some of the contentious properties such as City Hall. Something like, but is not as to the majority of its surviving exterior or interior fabric constructed before 1850. Let's see. Yeah, that came from some other people. And then also, and at a point to sort of enforce the historic purpose. Does anyone want this or no? No.
Thank you. Rosa Ordaz.
Hi, I'm Rosa. Thank you for pronouncing my last name correctly. You are the first person to do that in this city. I am at 13 Forest Avenue. I just want to voice my support and thank all of you for your time for the zoning overlay, as the proposed ordinance would allow for much needed creation of housing. We have heard many arguments about why this is very needed in the Commonwealth as a whole. Further, I urge you to make 10% of those units affordable, as Salem is a participant in the CPA program for the state of Massachusetts. I'm also an employee of Harbor Lake Community Partners, a nonprofit in Beverly dedicated to creating and managing affordable housing in the North Shore. And I'm very familiar with the concerns around housing creation and the challenges that it might present to certain residents and neighborhoods. We are in over 9 communities, and I would point to the success of both the North Shore CDC here in Salem and also the project of 43 and 179 Boston Street, which is a project that HCP completed in collaboration with the City of Salem and Mayor Driscoll, and LifeBridge, which is a shelter here in Salem supporting our homeless population. So I would really urge you to look at those projects as example of success, and hope you support the zoning overlay. Thanks.
Thank you. Polly Wilbert.
Polly Wilbert, 7 Cedar Street. I just want to express continued concern that without the ability to map these properties, there's no parity with other zoning in the city in which you can see clearly what zone applies to entities and overlays in the city. I hope that the council will see the garage data tonight. It's been several meetings without that data. I think you need it. I support a positive written recommendation from the Salem Historical Commission on the projects that are reviewed. I would urge that the CPA qualifications be the eligibility determinant of an historic property in addition to the 50 years. If there's no significant new construction, which I believe we're now comfortable with, that the DRB review be removed to streamline the review process. And I would ask that going forward, when there are multiple iterations of a document, that they have an identifier on the cover page of the date that the document's been generated, where the document came from, and what version of the document. I think it became increasingly confusing as we were going through the 8 months of review on this draft document, that we couldn't tell what document we were looking at clearly. And I think you all saw on Tuesday night, some of you didn't even have the document that was being referred to. So I think if there were an identifying process, you would be supported in your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lindsay Marcello.
Lindsay Morcillo, 53 Broad Street. There was a lot of productive work done at the last Tuesday's OLA meeting. It was a good use of 4 hours, I think, because many of the problems that were brought up by speakers there and in previous forums and even tonight were resolved. It is a waste of that time if we can't get to first passage on this tonight. No different options are going to be made available for handling the reuse of these properties if we don't move forward. And while if it does pass, we have a range of tools on how to make sure that the reuse fits into the neighborhoods, fits into the city, fits into the plans that we have. Oliver Wendell Holmes said, "Certainty generally is illusion, and repose is not the destiny of man." So, I mean, we cannot wish for clairvoyance and hope to see 20 years into the future. We can only do our best now to solve the problems that are in front of us. And this will give us the option to solve tomorrow's problems as they arise. Thank you.
Laura Lee Stewart.
Laura Lee Stewart, 7 Barnes Road, also the chair of the Affordable Housing Task Force of the League of Women Voters. It's interesting, I didn't know what Lindsay was going to say, but Oliver Wendell Holmes, very interesting. There's been a lot of rhetoric that we've been hearing in the city for a while over this, and I'm here tonight to talk about the affordable housing component, and don't be confused, this is actually going to do something for affordable housing. As a former tenant of public housing, I know full well that there isn't enough and probably never will be enough to meet everybody's needs. But I don't think that that means that we throw away the baby with the bathwater. I think this will help. I think the people in our city are committed to making this work, and I know we have more work to do on this. I just don't want you to get confused that this is not an affordable housing issue. It really is, and there are people out there that will benefit from this, and so I urge you, after all of your hard work, to vote in favor of this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Jen Lynch.
Hi, Jen Lynch, 38 Charles Street. Thank you, Mr. President. I have lots of thoughts on this, but I've written them down and sent them to most of you, so I'll keep this brief. I am in favor of rehabilitating old buildings, creating desperately needed new housing in Salem, expanding the tax base, and moving forward as a city. I feel like everybody at this table feels the same way fundamentally about all of those things, so I hope that the compromises that we came to at the OLA meeting on Tuesday, the very long OLA meeting on Tuesday, were sufficient to earn your support for the overlay ordinance. Please vote for first passage tonight. Thank you.
Tessie Riley Goggin.
T.C. Riley Goggin, 9 Wisteria Street. Last time I stood before you, ladies and gentlemen, I asked you to look at the audience, and I held it up, and I said it was not worth the paper that it was written on. I'm tonight here to ask you to hold up this ordinance, put it in committee, and do some more work on it. You were working diligent the other night. I was really impressed. But right now, after the end of the meeting almost, your council president asked, please put it on the zoning map and delineate the areas that this zone will be touching. It was announced by administration and our city planner that this ordinance would be the entire city, not one part of it, the entire city. I compare it with a king-size blanket that you would put over a baby's crib, and we know, people, that that's not a good idea. You could suffocate the baby. The zones out there that other people live in right now, they have zones out the same way. And I don't want the baby suffocated. I don't want the ordinances suffocated. I want you to take another look at it. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Christian Hoisted.
Ladies and gentlemen of the City Council, my name is Christian Hoisrad, and I am a resident of 9 Pickering Way and the Government Affairs Manager of the North Shore Association of Realtors. Our association represents 1,200 realtors across the North Shore, including many here in Salem. I'm here tonight to reiterate our association's support for the adaptive reuse zoning overlay and urge members of this council to vote in favor of the overlay tonight. We understand that no community can sustain a desirable quality of life without meeting its residents' basic need for available and affordable housing. We view this ordinance as a tool to help Salem meet an obvious and critical need for its residents. Many of our members have been through the public hearings and the meetings on this ordinance, and we appreciate the public debate and the amendments that have been made. Those deliberations have resulted in a refined and responsible ordinance that provides for historical preservation as well as sufficient oversight and flexibility to incentivize the reuse of these properties. As the voice of real estate on the North Shore, we commend Salem residents for your very thorough work on this over the past year, and we strongly urge your passage of the overlay tonight. Our full letter of support should have been included in your packets tonight. Thank you.
Ellen Simpson?
I'm Ellen Simpson, and I live at 2.5 Rope Street. I'm here regarding the overlay ordinance. As city councilors, you represent people with widely differing opinions, but everyone in Salem and in this room shares pride in our city. We know in our hearts that Salem is unique and important. It's special for the lessons it has taught us, the people who live here, and the architecture that links us to our past. The 3 buildings that would be immediately freed for redevelopment by the ordinance were built to last. The senior center, for example, is 164 years old. We have the opportunity to preserve these buildings for people who won't even be born for another 164 years. There are not many opportunities in life for an individual to make large-scale differences. But, and I'm speaking particularly to those of you who may be wavering, tonight is a situation where a few individuals have an opportunity to leave a legacy. Please vote in favor of the ordinance tonight. Thank you.
Ann Elizabeth Young?
Hello. My name is Ann Elizabeth Young, 62 Perkins Street. And I'm just here today to voice my support in favor of the overlay ordinance. My husband and I recently moved to Salem. We had been priced out of every neighborhood we had lived in Boston. We love Salem, we love our community, we love our neighborhood, and we hope to have the opportunity to raise a family here. But we realize that in order to do that, the city needs to create new, affordable, and accessible housing for its residents. The overlay ordinance isn't perfect as it is, but we think it's a really important first step in tackling this issue that's been impacting so many families like mine. And addressing a crisis in the region. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jeff Cohen.
Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street. No legislation is perfect. I know this, having written the original version of the Sanctuary City ordinance and much of the 100% clean energy resolution. I spent a lot of time polishing them and looking at how great they were, and they weren't anything like what I originally wrote in the end. But they made me proud that they were passed by this council. And compromise can be a great way of developing the best legislation because it takes into account what everyone stands for. And I believe that this council has spent a lot of time really doing the diligence and working together. And I believe there's some urgency to this. There is the housing issue, there is keeping these buildings in the proper reuse. And I would like to say that I encourage you to pass this first passage, and I'm rocking with Councilor Terrio.
Isaiah Fisk.
Josiah Fisk, 358 Essex Street. I was there the other night. I want to thank everyone for their patience. I think that much improvement was made in this. I think that it seemed like an eternity, 4 hours. In terms of the amount of time that this ordinance will be in effect, it was a very small amount of time, barely a blip on the screen. I would urge the council tonight, as a committee of the whole or in committee again, to fix the last few things that need to be fixed. It is important to do this because this will be with us for years. I think it is only right that the Historical Commission have the ability to at least make a recommendation, and that it must be a positive recommendation, not necessarily an entire process of working with them. If these buildings have historical merit, as is claimed, if this is historical preservation, let's have them involved. There's really no good argument for not having that level of involvement. I think public comment, which has been taken away in general from the hearing, is essential to have. There's essential to have some of that, and that should be required that this be allowed at the committees, because otherwise it will not be possible until it gets to the council. I think there are still some loopholes in here. It seems to me as if it is still possible for a property to become eligible for this by a building that exists, knock the building down, and then you're still eligible for it. Perhaps that's not true, but as I read it, it is. Last, I'd like to ask a question, Mr. President, if I may. Because at the end of the meeting last time, they took away one column of the table, but the other one, as we understood it as an observer, as I understood it, that was to remain. Well, now it's not in the most recent draft, and I understand perhaps why it was taken out. But the question is, is the implication that the underlying zoning then remains? Or what is the implication of that?
I'm sorry, during public comment, there's not an exchange of questions and answers.
I understand. Thank you. And the last thing, I think it is unusual, to say the least, to have the council, to have zoning passed where literally it cannot be said what it applies to. Not even today, let alone tomorrow. The city has not been able to come forward with a definite list. I don't know how you can pass zoning when it's a mystery what it applies to. I don't think it's really a mystery for most of us. We obviously are talking about the 3 buildings that we're talking about presently. But as to what else applies, who knows? I'm not sure that that's very sound. And I wish that there was a remedy for that. And I ask this council to try to remedy that issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl Fuse.
Cheryl Rafuse, 84 Barstow. So as far as I know from what I've read from this ordinance or the municipal religious reuse overlay zoning, many words. From what I understand, it really seems like it's something that's gonna help with affordable housing. And for me and for many millennials, affordable housing is key. The average salary for a millennial in the United States is just over $35,000. So every landlord looks at your annual income, or like if they want to know your annual income, and they'll essentially be like, okay, is my rent 40, if you times the rent by 40, will that get to your income? That's a usual piece of math that landlords do. If you're making $35,000 a year, you can only pay $875 a month for rent, so according to that math. So right now, the least expensive 1-bedroom is $1,200. So this will help with affordable housing. I'm 100% for it. I don't like seeing my really poor friends have to live with 8 other people in order to survive in a tiny city that's not Boston. It's crazy. So from the bottom of my heart, I really, really hope that you pass something tonight that will help with affordable housing. Thanks.
Thank you. Michael Cusick.
Michael Cusick, 19 Putnam Street on Gallows Hill. I'm here wholeheartedly in support of the passage of this overlay. I just want to give background of what the challenges that Salem faces. Just a couple of months, the Metro Mayors Coalition of 15 mayors, including Boston in eastern Massachusetts, came up with a resolution that 185,000 new units would be have to be in eastern Massachusetts in 10 years by 2028. That was a correction from their earlier one in 2015, which was about 30% lower. That shows you how fast population is growing. If you do the math, as I have done, if nobody else has done, and come to Salem, a city the size of Salem, on those projections would be 3,000 to 4,000 new units by 2028. That comes out to 300 to 400 a year. If this resolution passes and all those get built, that's 200 units. You got a long way to go. And to give you a record, I've gone to the records. If you go over the last 10 years, Salem's been averaging 12 new units per year. So you got a long way to go. This is just a start, and I hope you will make that start. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jessica Herbert.
Jessica Herbert, 70 Webb Street. I'd just like to repeat what I had said at 4 other of these meetings, and that is the importance of having the Historic Commission have a weigh-in on the development of these projects. And as an example of what's happening right now, our next meeting on March 6th, we have 3 projects from one particular developer who does not have to appear before us, but is appearing before us for our input and guidance. Over the last few months, we've had almost 10 of these types of applications. So it just goes to show that in addition to what we do for our regular job, we're sought out by homeowners and developers who don't have to come to us because they know I'll be out in the field for free helping them. So I just think that's really important, and I hope that you'll adopt some of the amendments that you worked so hard on so that you can get a first passage. And I think it's a wonderful amendment, and I just want to also say Tom Daniel and the HSI worked so hard, hand in hand, and it was wonderful to see that kind of partnership. And I hope we can continue to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public testimony for tonight. Hearings, none. Appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Todd Waller of 148 Washington Street to the Traffic and Parking Commission with a term to expire on September 29, 2019.
Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I had the pleasure of meeting Todd many years ago when I attended a house party for 4th of July and didn't realize that many years after I would be standing here. I don't even know where he is. Right there. Very happy to recommend his recommendation to the Traffic and Parking Commission as a business owner in our downtown district. So he is the owner of the Merchant Hotel and has great insight on some of the traffic and parking issues that we face in the downtown area. And he is also a resident of Derby Street neighborhood, so he also understands issues in that area. So I think he brings a lot of expertise, and then you can see he has a very extensive and impressive resume. And I'm very excited for him to join the commission and bring value to the discussions, and I fully recommend his appointment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? They're being done. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Toriel?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Dibble?
Yes. Eleven councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
Mr. President?
Excuse me?
Suspension of the rules.
Oh, I'm sorry. Council Madore.
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Waller to address the council if he so chooses.
Thank you.
Council members, briefly, thank you for taking the time and effort to consider me for the commission, and I look forward to serving on the Parking and Traffic Commission for Salem and the city.
Further appointments and reappointments.
You've held from the last meeting the mayor's appointment of Michaela Abreu to serve on the Salem Youth Commission with a term to expire on February 14th, 2020.
Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Yes. This is actually for a new alternate to the Salem Youth Commission for Ms. Abreu. Looking at a very impressive resume that she has as a junior in high school, high honor roll student, 3 years, Reach Award, English Award, Service Learning Award. I mean, it's really great that the youths want to get involved in this, and she's a very, very good candidate for this, and we're lucky to have her for this. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Toriel?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. Eleven councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative. The matter carries. Councilor Flynn.
I'd like a suspension of the rules, please.
Yes.
To allow Ms. Abreu, if she'd like to address the council on her appointment.
I would just like to thank Laura Assad for giving me the opportunity to be a part of the Salem Youth Commission and allowing me to be the scribe and the newfound president.
Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Kerry Neenan on Lafayette Street to serve on the Salem Disabilities Commission with a term to expire on February 14th, 2022.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Neenan is a neighbor of mine. She has a child now with special needs. She's very active in the community in a number of causes, and she serves on the Special Education Parent Advisory Committee as well. And I have a couple of friends who are very strongly involved in that, and I know the work that that organization does. So I'm very pleased that she wishes to serve the city as in this capacity, and I know the Disabilities Commission is really benefiting from the new energy that some of the people who've come on have given it, and so I'm looking forward to her joining that.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to add that I had the chance to meet Ms. Neenan just this evening, but as the liaison to the Disabilities Commission, I'm really thrilled that she's volunteering to serve, and we are doing some great things over there, so I'm really excited to have her on board.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. $11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative. The matter carries. Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules to allow Ms. Neenan to address the council if she chooses.
I just want to thank the council and the commission for allowing me this opportunity, and thanks to Bill Legault for suggesting that I submit my name for this. I have a 4-year-old daughter with Down syndrome, so I've been active in the Down syndrome community, and I'm excited to learn some more about the disability community in general and just be more of a disability advocate for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Josh Gillis to serve on the Salem Bicycling Advisory Committee with a term to expire on February 14th, 2022.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Gillis is with us tonight, and just by reading his resume, he's extremely qualified in a whole bunch of different areas, which I think will add to his ability to advise the bicycle committee. But in his letter, it states that he avidly, or more than often, rides his bike to work from Salem to Peabody. So who better to sit on an advisory board than someone who rides his bike to work almost every day to be able to evaluate the city streets and try to move the committee forward in a positive direction. On a personal note, earlier tonight, I had never met Mr. Gillis, and I leaned over to Councilor Madore and I said, "You don't have to know Mr. Gillis, do you?" He says, "No." And the room was packed earlier, as we all know. And I picked out the one gentleman who came in who looked very physically fit, wasn't with all the firefighters' families, and wasn't a regular that you usually see in council meetings. And it happened to be Mr. Gillis, and he started laughing when I said that to him. So, but I want to give him a lot of credit for his willingness to step forward, and I wholeheartedly support his recommendation and ask for a roll call vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just quickly want to say that I think the world of Josh and his family, and they're an awesome downtown family, and they do a lot in the community. And actually, fun fact, his wife and I were born at the same hospital 4 days apart. So I love the Gillises. But yes, I think that he's going to be a fantastic addition to the Bicycle Advisory Committee, and we look forward to your input. Thank you.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative. The matter carries. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules to allow Mr. Gillis to address the council if he so chooses.
thank you to the committee for allowing me to serve on the bicycle committee. I look forward to it. And very impressed that you picked me up. Thank you.
Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Christian Bednar to serve on the Affordable Trust Fund Board with a term to expire on February 28th, 2020.
Councilman Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to clarify, this is the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board, and I move for this to be held under the rules.
Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of the following department heads and assistant department heads with their terms to expire as follows. John Doyle, Kathleen McMahon, David Knowlton, David Kachowski, Tom Watkins.
Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
I'd just like to say that these 5 individuals, department heads and assistants, you can see a lot of experience that do a lot of great work for the city, and it's an honor to be recommending them.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Paul Duran to the Design Review Board with a term to expire March 1st, 2022.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Yes, very quickly, I really appreciate Paul's service to date and his willingness to continue to serve and bring his expertise as an architect, a local architect, to continue to serve the board.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. Eleven councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Councilor Madore. Oh, sorry, it's a reappointment. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of David Pavage to the Salem and Beverly Water Supply Board with a term to expire March 1st, 2022.
Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Briefly, Mr. President, he has done a good job for us thus far for these years. He has a lot of commitments, and I appreciate his willingness to take time out of his day to help us out here.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Mickey Northcott to the Community Preservation Committee Act with a term to expire March 1st, 2022.
Councilor Madore.
No, it's actually my side of Northeast Street. It was a mistake on the,
Councilor Gerard.
thank you. So I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just briefly want to say thank you again for all the years of Mickey's expertise and all the great things that he does for this community and his phenomenal help with getting affordable housing here. He's really an asset, and we're very fortunate to have him.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. All 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of the following to serve on the Conservation Commission with the terms to expire as follows. Don Riccarelli and Scott Sheehan.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Briefly, Mr. President, I want to thank these individuals for their willingness to continue, for serving, and I want to continue all the good work that they do.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Torrio?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Peterson?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Madore?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Counselor Dibble.
Yes. Thank you. 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of the following to serve on the Historical Commission with their terms to expire as follows. Reed Cutting and Rebecca English.
Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Sure. I think that I just want to thank them both for their hard work on the Historical Commission. We've gotten a lot of insight, especially in the past few months, of how hard they do work and how much they give to the city. So I'm so thankful for how much they're willing to give, and happy that they want to continue.
Thank you for that. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Torrio?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Peterson?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Madore?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Counselor Dibble.
Yes. Thank you. 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of the following to serve on the planning board with a term to expire as follows. Ben Anderson and Noah Kretz.
Councilor Turrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. I will also note that the Ward 2 councilor is a work colleague of Mr. Koretz, so she's recused herself from this. But I'll say Noah has been fantastic on his years on the planning board thus far. He and I have disagreed on a number of matters that we've discussed. But he's incredibly professional. He's incredibly dedicated, and I think it's wonderful that we have actual planners working on who work as planners elsewhere that are willing to volunteer their time on our planning board. As for Mr. Anderson, the very first thing that I worked on when I was elected to the city council was the CVS project on Canal Street. And Mr. Anderson, as an abutter, I talked to him a lot throughout the process. We'd been friends for a number of years as our children went to school together. He was dedicated. He came to all the meetings. He helped really an enormous amount in shaping that project to make it better. And when he was done, I suggested, you should probably apply to be on the planning board. You've got all the expertise. He works for a major architectural firm, and he was willing to do so, and the mayor was kind enough to appoint him, and now he's the chair of the board, and he does a fantastic job for the city. I'm really happy to have helped in my small way to make that happen, and I'm very grateful to both of them for their service.
Thank you. Let the record show that Councilor Madore has excused herself. Any further discussion? Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to echo the good Ward 5 councilor's comments. I was taking minutes for the planning board when Ben first came about the CVS project, and everyone sitting at the table was very struck by how intelligent he was and the breadth of knowledge, and they wanted him to come and serve on the board with him. So he was a fantastic addition, and Noah is actually one of my constituents, and we've been so lucky to have him. He really does have one of the best resumes. He has fantastic qualifications, and he adds so much to the board. So we're really grateful to continue supporting them and having them on the board.
Okay, any further discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Torrio?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Peterson?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Counselor Dibble.
Yes. Thank you. 10 councilors present, 1 absent, 10 voting in the affirmative. The matter carries. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to request that we go out of order to the top of page 12 in the agenda.
page 12.
First order of business.
Yes, motions, orders, and resolutions. Counselor Flynn.
In City Council, February 28th, 2019, ordered that the City Council appoint Deborah Greel to the Community Preservation Act Committee with the term to expire on May 23rd, 2020, be confirmed by a roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Yes. In our committee, Government Services, we got to meet. There were 3 fine candidates that wanted this position. They got to introduce themselves. And looking at all the resumes, Ms. Greel's resume stood out a little bit more with her experience. They were all very qualified, but as I said, she had that little bit more that she could add to this position. So we did recommend her out of committee for a vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will also agree that we are very fortunate that we're going to continue, even though Deb doesn't work for us anymore, but we still get to utilize her expertise. And I also just want to acknowledge Kevin Cornacchio, who sat on the Community Preservation Board and the Community Preservation Committee, and just want to thank him for his years of service on that committee.
Thank you. Councilor Fury.
Yes, please, Mr. President. The Community Preservation Act even touches this very chamber. If you look at some of the paintings that were restored by the Community Preservation Act, it's funds that come from real estate situation, and it goes to community projects like we see tonight in the chamber. And it also affects every single ward in the city of Salem. In the crown jewel, Salem Public Library, the Bertram House, Bertram Mansion, so the Bertram family. How lucky we are to have the Community Preservation Act. We just did Mickey Norcott on board, and he's an outstanding angel of the Community Preservation Act from the very beginning. And now we have Debbie. Debbie and I met at the PBS Museum this afternoon, lo and behold, and culture, arts, experience, not just a bit about what was called for. I think she's just an outstanding candidate above all 3. Just a brilliant, shining star, and makes us shine tonight and every night. Thank you, Debbie, for serving.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Medora.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am so thrilled that Deb is willing to serve on this board, and she just brings so much expertise and just a really unique eye on what makes our community so great, with her experience with Salem Main Streets and economic development and public art, and I just think she brings so much to this board, and I can't wait for her to start serving because budget season's coming up. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you. Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Greel just thought she retired about a year ago after years as public arts planner, and I just want to acknowledge the work that she did during that time as the public arts planner in really revitalizing Artist Row and bringing a lot of new life and energy to it, and the work she did to improve access and improve what we were able to do at Old Town Hall, and working with the Community Preservation Act in those years to help arrange all the renovations that took place with all the windows that got replaced there and through the CPA, or through the CPC's recommendations. So we were able to use it for municipal purposes, and some of that came from her leadership there. So I'm thrilled. I was very sad to see her retire last year. I was very happy with the job she was doing, but apparently we can't get rid of her because she's on the licensing board now and also willing to do this. So, we couldn't get you completely retired, but I'm glad we have you doing these things. So thanks.
Any further discussion? Being done. On Councilor Flynn's motion, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Medora?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. Eleven councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative. The matter carries. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules, that if Ms. Greel would like to address the council. Thank you.
Everyone's kind words. Yes, I'm not going away anytime soon. Clearly, I think I love this city. Preservation, I think, is critical. Some people may know I was the first Main Street manager here, which was out of the National Trust for Historic Preservation. That's what founded a Main Street. So I started off, really understanding how important preservation was in terms of the vitality of your cities. You have to preserve your buildings. And also, as public art planner, we got to restore some of these very important paintings. I just want to give you a quick thing. If you could see them, there's a report, so they still look dark, and what people don't know is that sometimes paintings were done when they were from an original and they were already dirty. So that's why they look dark. We were able to restore these. I just want to let you know that these two people over here, the reason why they're across from each other is they didn't like each other. So if people don't think that history has an interesting story, and if you'd ever like to see the before and after, I recommend that you contact the planning department and they can show you some of those photos. But this is also part of our history too, and to be preserved. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Turiel.
Mr. President, I was going to move that we go out of order, but we only have a couple of items here, so if I think we could go back to our regular order if...
That's fine.
That's okay.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would, with all due respect, I would move to go out of order 15 committee reports.
Page 15. Being no objections, committee reports. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. The City of Salem City Council, February 28, 2019. The Committee on Ordinances licensed the Legal Affairs Co-Host of the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of amending zoning ordinance relative to the municipal and religious overlay district, has considered said matter and would recommend a positive recommendation to the full council to adopt a first passage as amended by roll call vote.
On the acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? On the adoption of the recommendation, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I first of all want to thank my fellow colleagues and the public that showed up Tuesday. As was alluded to earlier this evening, we spent almost 4 hours going through this document line by line. I want to. The reason I'm asking to take this out of order is Mr. Daniels. I can't see him; he's behind me. Tom spent some time with us. He's a city employee. I mean, if we can get him out of here maybe 10 minutes faster than if we just let it, I would appreciate that, because he did spend a lot of time, and I mean, he and I have exchanged emails and phone calls over the last couple days to get this document in front of us. And so I want to first recognize Mr. Daniels and his staff for doing that, all that good work. As was stated, there's a bunch of stuff in front of us, and it's been in front of us in one form or another for, as was also said earlier tonight, almost 6 months. We started with some of those early pre-meetings before the public hearing, of which I attended at least one of them, and at that time there was a big concern about steeples on churches, and I remember walking up after the meeting and I said to Mr. Daniels, I said, just take the steeples out. That's going to be a big bone of contention. And as it is now, the form in front of us, steeples, well, it doesn't even matter, because right now, as what's in front of us, there's no new construction. Now let's be 100% honest what's in front of us. What's in front of us is a product of a lot of hours of community input, a lot of hours of committee work, a lot of hours of emails back and forth, conversations with members of the council, with members of the public, to bring forth ideas to try to make this document better. This document, I could spend the next hour talking about it, but I don't think I'm not going to. And Council Miles looking at me, thanking me, nodding and said, please don't, because we have talked about it a long time. But basically, it is as written is the city of Salem is going to become an overlay district, the entire city. There is a document on everyone's desk from Rebecca Stein, basically saying, in my opinion. Robin Stein, I'm sorry. Did I say Rebecca? And Robin, she lives down the street from me. In my opinion, the proposed section 8.7 as drafted in its present form conforms to all applicable laws. However, the legality of zoning ordinances and its applicability to zoning ordinances to be specific lots and uses is in fact a specific analysis, and if challenged in courts, it could be determined otherwise. That's basically lawyers saying to each other that, yeah, this is my opinion, I think it's correct, but obviously another lawyer could challenge that. But as it's written, in her opinion, and she is contracted by the city to give her opinion on zoning matters to the city. It's her opinion as written, which basically means that the whole city is an overlay zone, and if there are, in the municipal and religious, if there is a building, as was amended, that is 4,000 square feet in its entirety, is 50 years of age, and has been in its, as was added in the language, its primary use is either municipal or religious for the past 20 years. The building, not the property, the building is eligible for reuse, to repurpose it, of which, we break it down to its basics, it's still an overlay district. It is still a matter of, it's not by right, they're still gonna have to go get a special permit to do this. So people, if someone moves in next to a building tomorrow, it's not moving next to a house, they're moving next to a building, or it could be a house if it's that big, and it would have to be turned into a religious use for 20 years before this become applicable. 20 years of continuous use as a primary use for this to work. So the fear is, I don't know what the fear is. All I'm saying is there potentially is a whole bunch, not a whole bunch, there's a bunch of buildings in the city of Salem that have aged into this. We produced a list at the first committee, at the first public hearing. It was an informational list. We were lambasted. We were told that the council president stated, it seems like we are trying to drive religion out of Salem. By no means is the city trying to drive religion out of Salem. We provided a list that met the criteria. The criteria was states age, everything was in the criteria. We presented a possibility of lists because people had questions like, okay, it sounds like a good idea. We understand that you're looking at the Archdiocese school buildings. We're looking at the Broad Street building where the senior center used to be. But what else potentially could it be? When we put together a list that showed potential other religious institutions, people went knocking on the religious institutions' doors and said, do you know you're on a list that they want to redevelop you? By no means are we looking to redevelop it. What it is it's a list that says, here's a list, here's the criteria. If you fall into this criteria, then potentially, if you wanted to go through the whole process, you could. So what's in front of us? It's been amended, worked on, back and forth. What came out of 4 hours of meeting last night is in front of us with a strike-through version right here. We were all there except for Councilor Fury, and I had a conversation with Councilor Fury before the meeting, so he's kind of aware of what's going on. And because of this, and because of what we asked Mr. Daniels to do to this document, one of which was to eliminate the ability to add an addition or another structure to these sites, because that was a big concern. By doing that, Mr. Daniels has also sent us a letter with his recommendations on how the language that we approved Thursday night might be tweaked a little bit in order to achieve what the goals and what the mission was of the committee from Tuesday night. Of which we, as was said in public testimony, we eliminated one column of the table. When I had conversations with Mr. Daniels over the last 2 days, the staff looked at it, they looked at it from a legal aspect to make sure everything was aligned properly. In their opinion, the table was no longer needed because we eliminated half the table, and they could take what was in the table and put it into a couple small bullet paragraphs to achieve that. That is, if we could, and I know we've spent a lot of time on this, and I have no desire to start a whole other long debate on this because we spent a lot of time on Tuesday night, and if the will is here, the will is here, but Mr. Daniels did prepare a second document with the changes that reflect what we asked him to do, because we also asked him, because what came up at the meeting on Tuesday night is we asked him to include language that addressed the issue, because what came up was the council president brought forth the idea of eliminating all new construction, which eliminated part of the table. And that triggered a couple different things within the document. So they went through, and we also asked them to address the ability, because some of these buildings are older buildings. They may have egress issues. So how can we accommodate them with handicap access ramps? Maybe if they deem it necessary, the possibility for an elevator. So they've addressed that issue, and then they also went through the document as we asked them to try to eliminate all references relative to new construction throughout which I think we heard tonight that there was one other one relative to parking, which would be in new construction to be required to have 1.5 spaces, but there is no new construction, so that point's mute, but should probably be stricken as well. But if I see, with no objection, just to allow Mr. Daniels to address this briefly, because I'm sure he's being a lot more eloquent than I am about what those changes were relative to the final document that I would ask that we adopt with those changes as he explains where those, that we asked him to do. So what I would ask is suspend the rules to allow Mr. Daniels to address us.
We'll do that after we see if there's any other discussion from our councilors. Is there any other discussion? Councilor Sargent.
I just want to make a quick comment about the 20 years, because I originally thought what Council McCarthy said was for the last 20 years. And it says something that's been used for 20 continuous years. Doesn't necessarily mean last year. It could be 10 years ago for 20 years, 20 years ago for 20 years. And then including some point in the last 20 years. So it's a little bit more different than the last 20 years, and I just want to correct that because I was confused about it also. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, our city planner, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President, Council. Thank you, Councilor McCarthy, for, I think, a very good summary. So, as we mentioned on Tuesday night, the elimination of the new construction table, we anticipated there would be some other things that we needed to clean up. In addition, the request was to look at how we could add in a provision, so minor alterations for accessibility, utilities, public safety, those types of things could be added in. So what you received yesterday from me was what you voted out committee Tuesday night. What I sent out today was the second set of changes, which I'm going to be working off of this document. It's the red line version, and it has a couple numbers written by hand next to things, just as the guide to go through it. And I think I can move very quickly because, again, the objective here and what this language does is if the building, and just the building, meets the eligibility requirements here, then the use of that building may change through a special permit process. There is no new construction, no expansion, no addition, no freestanding construction that is allowed except for the minor additions that might be needed for the elevator shaft, accessibility, utilities, full stop. That's all it is. Because that's different from what we had started with, there were these other modifications that were made. To move quickly through it, you'll notice there are a couple of just typos and things that were caught. I want to thank you, Mr. Tyler, for the parking provision of the new construction, because we did miss that one, and that's doesn't pertain because there is no new construction, but we can still strike that. So you'll notice just changing the year from 2018 to 2019 under 8.7.1. We've clarified the definition and did some typographical changes here. Under location, this is what I've circled as number 1. We added that the City of Salem zoning map shall be amended to depict the municipal and religious reuse overlay district. As has been discussed, that is the entire city, but the map will have it indicated with the list of all the other zoning districts, that there's an overlay and there will be a unique color that goes around the city. Under eligibility, again, you just see minor changes to capitalization. Under number 4, there's a clarification here where it says lot and or building. For eligibility, we're correcting that to be lot and building because, again, this is meant to be tied to the building. And there is no new construction. On page 2, what you see is change number 2. This is where, just for the sake of clarity, the paragraph that was stricken read, a building shall be considered currently in municipal or religious use if substantially all of the building was actively used for at least 20 continuous years, including some point in the last 20 years, for municipal or religious purposes immediately preceding an application under this section. Well, you'll see that that's been stricken and has been replaced with 2 virtually identical paragraphs, one talking about municipal uses and the second talking what a religious use is. We just felt that by pulling the one paragraph and making it one paragraph tied to municipal use, one paragraph tied to religious use. It was just extra clear. When you get to 8.7.4, that's where you see the table coming out, because really there was no reason to have a table of any dimensional requirements because there is no new construction. So if someone were to want to do something other than that elevator shaft or that utility minor addition, they would not be able to proceed with that construction work through this provision under 8.7. They would need to go through, if there's a nonconformance, they're going to need to come in through the existing city ordinance under 3.3.3, essentially wind up in front of the ZBA. Excuse me. So with that coming out, the one thing that we did want to keep in there was the provision regarding the height of fences and bordering walls, because you hadn't indicated that that would be eliminated. So that's change number 4 in this, where we've added existing fences and bordering walls on an eligible lot may be replaced and or extended to a height equal to the existing fence or bordering walls, or 6 feet, whichever is greater. So that is what was in the table. Because we eliminated the table, we just put it into a paragraph. This next paragraph is where we talk about the ability to add in those minor additions for access. So I'll read it out loud. To the extent that any eligible lot and or existing building thereon currently in municipal or religious use, and for which a change of use is proposed, does not conform to the applicable dimensional requirements, the planning board may, in issuing a special permit hereunder, allow structural extensions and alterations to that existing building where the planning board finds that 1, those changes are necessary for purposes of public health and safety, access for disabled persons, utilities, mechanical equipment, or similar concerns, and 2, those extensions and alterations shall not be substantially more detrimental than the existing nonconformity. I sound like a broken record, but again, I just want to say this is saying that we're only allowing under this provision for those minor alterations to happen through a special permit process. To put extra belts and suspenders on it, we added another paragraph just to drive the point home. Any other structural extensions or alterations and any structural reconstruction or changes to any non-conforming building located on an eligible lot shall be subject to section 3.3.3 of this ordinance. Again, that means if you want to do something other than adding the elevator shaft, you're going to be going, and it's non-conforming, you're going to be going to the zoning board. The rest of that is just stricken text from the paragraph. Number 7 here is striking the planning board may, in addition to a change in use of building currently in municipal or religious use, authorize the construction of new and expanded buildings pursuant to section 8.7. Again, no longer relevant. We're not talking about new construction. And the last change is on page 4, where we're changing delivery by to delivery of. That was just a typographical error. So I hope that this captures the spirit of the committee's recommendation, and I'm happy to answer any questions if any of you have. So.
Councilors, under discussion? Councilor Terrio, then Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would, I guess, move that, I think this is the appropriate mechanism here. I would move that we accept this newest version of document as the amendment, amending to replace what we brought out of committee on Tuesday night. So that would be, this seems to cover all those things and take care of that language. So I would move that we accept this amendment as an amendment in its entirety to the ordinance that's under discussion. So that way we're discussing the right document.
Second.
Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank Ton and the entire body for such a great work. I think we had in front of us a fine work. As everybody mentioned, we have 4 hours trying to, target something that really everybody understands that we need in Salem. I think that it's been very clear and loud that the will of the plan, on the name of the city, in this case, Tom and the mayor, wanted to bring something workable for everyone. I had to say initially that I was not really too comfortable on the last piece, but to me it's very clear that the mapping thing that we hear some people concerned is being addressed by this new document that is in front of us. But I want to ask you a question regarding to the mapping. Say, for example, that we wanted to hear the people that mentioned that we wanted to have that mapping. That will change anything on your end if we allow to have that a little bit clear in a term that we can just have identify the building or the area that we are actually referring to in this ordinance.
So through you, Mr. President, excuse me, the City of Salem zoning map is an official document that cannot reflect individual properties under this provision. So there is another reference tool outside of the official zoning map that can illustrate properties that are eligible, but that is different and from the City of Salem zoning map. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor.
I would just ask that we move the question on the amendment so that we can be on the same page.
Under Council Turiel's request for amendment, seconded by Councilor McCarthy. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it.
Can I just be clear that that includes the parking as well on 8.79? That's not noted.
I'm sorry, Madam.
We're going to have to move separately.
Okay, I just didn't know.
Can you repeat that, please?
It was a question. So.
Councilor Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now further move that we amend the ordinance, section 879 to put a period after existing buildings and delete the remainder of the sentence.
Second.
And that takes care of the parking, the new construction comment.
Good.
No?
Which paragraph?
The first paragraph, 879. So the first paragraph's one sentence. For all new residential dwelling uses, provisions shall be made for not fewer than one parking space per dwelling unit for existing buildings. And then just put a period there and delete the rest of the sentence. And that takes care of that.
Under discussion? Councilor McCarthy.
Yes, I want to thank Mr. Terry for catching that one. We asked at the meeting on Tuesday, towards the end of it, we decided that we took a vote on it. We got rid of all new construction. This references new construction, and it just doesn't make sense to leave it in because there's no new construction in the rest of the ordinance. So it's just a matter of some sort of housekeeping that we missed during our deliberations.
On the any further discussion? There being none. On the amendment suggested by Councilor Turiel, seconded by Councilor McCarthy, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I could, I'd like to propose a couple of amendments, one at a time. And number one being at 8.7.8 affordability, at a minimum of 10%, and change to a minimum of 20% for the affordable housing units.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Milo. On discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. So if we got a lot of people here looking for affordable housing, as we heard during the public comment, and I think 10% is a minimum. We pretty much make every developer do that anyways. A lot is being asked to rezone something with the boundaries of the whole city, and I think a little bit should be given back in return. And I don't think 20% is too much asked. I think we should do more than that, but I'm willing to ask for 20% tonight. And again, on these religious buildings, we have to keep in mind that these were paid for by the parishioners of the churches, and they were tax-free for so many years. So there's a lot that the parishioners gave to these buildings and a lot that the city of Salem gave to these buildings, along with zoning changes, zoning exemptions for them to be built. And that was all for a good cause at the time, and I understand that. But with that in mind, I think the owners of these buildings, as they are now, owe the city a little bit and owe the parishioners and a little bit more affordable housing than what's proposed. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Council
Could I have a
Terrio.
roll call vote, please, on that also?
Yes, Council Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I support having maximum affordability for these properties in general, and I also support having the limit, the income limit, lower than it is in here. But there's a catch in this particular ordinance, the way it's structured and the way this zone is structured. This includes 3 church properties that are going to be long-term leased. They're going to be 99-year leases to developers, one of which is, I believe, Salem Renewal for the St. Anne's property off Jefferson Avenue, and then the other 2 of the North Shore CDC for the other 2 church properties. But there's also, and for those properties which will be leased, not owned by their tenants, that's something that could be viable. But there's also a city property that's expected to be sold as part of this, and that's our existing senior center on Broad Street. And we are counting on the revenue from that sale as part of our finance stream for paying off the bonds on the new senior center that we just moved into a few months ago. So there are some city financial issues tied up in that. And then the other thing that causes a problem with trying to make this a blanket requirement is the senior center will be sold by the city, not leased long-term. So the buyer of that is whoever the developer that's selected is going. Right now, they will likely be turning that into ownership units. That'll probably be a condo building. And by forcing that requirement higher, that could have a bad effect on their ability to finance, on the buyer's ability to finance this project and get the work done that's needed. In the case of the church properties, we know from Mr. Northcutt's testimony here on Tuesday that both of those projects will be well above 10%, well above 20%, well above 50%, and probably 100% affordable to a degree that is above and beyond what we're requiring. He was talking about having 30% and a maximum cap of 60%. We're talking about only requiring 80%. So as I said, the 10% and 80% criteria here right now is, as we've been saying many times, it's a floor, it's not a ceiling. In the case of the church redevelopments, at least 2 of those are going to be substantially higher than 10% and substantially high enough that they will be, the Immaculate Conception and St. James redevelopments will be high enough affordability that they'll make up for all the affordability on all the other ones. So I think I don't support changing the requirement in here because of the nature of what we're looking at right now, but I think the goal is a laudable one.
Any further discussion? Councilor Milo, then Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to support this amendment as I supported it the other night. And what I said the other night was, it's time for us to walk the walk. We talk the talk, but we don't always walk the walk. As the late Joe O'Keefe would say, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. We have a lot of discussion about what we think is going to happen, but having this in writing will guarantee anything that comes down the pike will be 20%. And it's a start. And I think that's a decent floor as opposed to 10%.
Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have to agree with the good at-large councilors. There's so many people that have a need for affordable housing in Salem. It's about time that we really step up. And I'd rather have the 20% as a starting level. If we could go higher, that would be really great. During public testimony, we had the young lady say how you have to make so much. The landlord looks at so much to be able to afford an apartment. Making $35,000, that's not even enough to afford an apartment that's $800. So I'd rather see us start at a basement level of 20%. We really do need to help people with affordable housing, and I think this is a good start. And I would definitely think this should be included. Thank you.
Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to publicly saying that I'm maybe one of the person in this body that know exactly what affordable housing is a need. I'm coming from a population where affordable housing is not only a topic that we speak now. I'm coming from a motherland where we had those issues face to face for life. But I have to say that I understand in some instance what the city throughout the planning department on Tom people are trying to do right here. We're trying to have a way to make things work. And I think that where we fear and where we need to be very strong is in the negotiation table. After we approve any type of tool that's going to help bring people to alleviate the situation we have. Meaning by that, as soon as we approve something that make sense to people, to the developers or whoever going to make the project, we need to be in the table trying to find out exactly that we can get exactly what we need as a city in terms of affordable housing. If we continue to raise the bar, what's going to happen is that we're not going to have no one really taking good intention to be part of that project and try to alleviate the situation. So we need to have something. We need to pass something. That's my point. Because it's better to have at least 10% than nothing. We have a crisis. We need to face this reality. And we need to make it happen. The only way we want to make it happen is by using some type of tool that bring the developers and bring people so they can be interested and they can be able to be part of the solution. So I really understand, and I think that what they're trying to do is to have it in a way that everybody feel comfortable so everybody can sit at the table and negotiate. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Gerard, then Councilor Fury.
Thank you, Mr. President. Where do I start with this? That when exactly what was alluded to about the importance of having that 10% available, particularly for the former senior center, that it was something that the planner that Tom had mentioned the other night, that when I asked him about the other cities and towns that we're changing the affordability threshold, and I asked particularly about Somerville, and he said they went to 20 and it's had a chilling effect. We're trying to get this building off of our books, and we don't want to negatively impact that effort when we know that there's going to be these other buildings that are going to have much higher affordable housings and lower income requirements than what we're asking for here. And plus, the other thing is that the beauty of this being a zoning change is that we have to do 2 passages. So we're gonna, if we do the first passage tonight, then we have a little over 2 weeks until March 14th, and that time we're going to have the community meeting on March 5th to discuss affordable housing needs. And so if we want to make any changes whatsoever before the 14th, we can, and we should just pass this as is and just get it done. Get the senior center off the books, get that developed. It's falling down. That's why the seniors aren't in there anymore, and they were complaining. And people, and it was disheartening to have a building in that condition for our seniors because it's in such bad shape. We need to get it off their books. We need off our books. We need to get it sold. We need the 10%. We need the 1080 for that building. Thank you.
Councilor Fury.
Mr. President, Debbie Guio spoke tonight previously about these 2 paintings. These 2 people never got along. Philosophically, did not get along. We as a city, we as leaders, can't always agree. Tonight is a night that we can make a difference in the city of Salem. Housing has a human face. Whether it's 10%, 20%, 30%, sincerely, we need to start now, tonight. 10%, first passage tonight. If you go to 20%, it's a make you feel good. Oh, we're all going to be good. Let's all sing Kumbaya. It's a make you feel good attitude. 20%. Realistically, we have to come to a realization that 10% is a reality to developers, anybody taking on these 2 challenging properties. My brother Ed was a city electrician and a maintenance man to St. James Church for years. He loved that job. Died at premature early life. And he would tell stories about chimneys going this way at St. James. The windows shake, rattling, and rolling. I taught CCD there for 30 years. That building St. James has not been used for 15 years by the Archdiocese of Boston, not by the parish. It's falling apart. Immaculate Conception is falling apart. Where did the Boys and Girls Club go to? They went to the middle school because the place is falling apart, the roof is falling apart, the windowsills are falling apart. If you think we do a good job, don't do a good job in our public buildings, the Archdiocese does not. Through my own brother's eyes, the city electrician, codes, buildings, bricks, ceilings, everything else falling apart at St. James. Tonight we have an opportunity to change those buildings, to change the neighborhoods and add something to that neighborhood. We're looking for a disaster to happen if we continue to delay and defer. These good leaders came to consensus over time. They may not have agreed. We may not always agree. Tonight is a night for compromise, consensus, move ahead with these buildings, make better neighborhoods for each and a better city of Salem. Thank you very much.
Councilor McCarthy, then Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. We did have this debate Tuesday night. The good at-large council brought this up Tuesday night, and his first proposal was 50%, and then he didn't get a second on that. So he was going to keep going down until he decided to go upwards. So we started at 20, and we had a long-spirited discussion about this, and we could keep having a long-spirited discussion about it tonight. Yeah, is it time to start walking the walk? Yeah, it is. But is that time right now tonight? Nope. It's about getting this thing on the books and getting it done, because we have the one building we're talking about on the list is the old senior center, and the old senior center went out for a requisition for proposal based on the numbers that are here, 10% and 80. It's unfortunate. The bigger number we should talk about, we should be talking about the 80%. But we had this discussion Tuesday night. The question is the right number, is it 20%, is it 15%? Is it 80%, is it 60%? Or is it 65%? These are discussions that, are gonna be taken up, that conversation is gonna be next week with the housing forum, that's on Tuesday night. And if the consensus is coming out of that to come forward in such time, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, bring in an amendment that's going to cover that. That's going to supersede anything we do here. So we could have that feel-good moment and make it 20 and drop it to whatever percentage, but it could be superseded by what we do in a couple of weeks. So it is a baseline, and I understand. But as Mr. Northcutt, who has been in charge basically with the Archdiocese to have those initial conversations, when he said these, he goes, they can be anything because I don't work off of those numbers. If the way they formulate things out and do things, and he's not here to testify, so I'm not going to testify for him, but he basically said, no, we do much more in affordability, and that number that the 80% that's alluded to, the median income from Boston and surrounding communities, he goes, the number they use is like they start at 60 and then they work down when they do out the units. So that's not even going to happen. So we had this debate Tuesday night. If we want to continue to keep having it again tonight, Tuesday night out of committee, and I realized the committee's only 5 members. The committee at that point voted it down. We could go to the full floor, but we were all, other than Councilor Fury, who just spoke, we're all there. We're all, unless our opinions changed for some reason in the last 2 days. I think we just moved the question, because there's going to be this one, and then there's going to be the 80%, which we already did. So I would just move the question.
Councilor Madore, then Councilor Milo. I'm sorry, Councilor Madore first, then Councilor Milo.
Go ahead. Thank you, Mr. President. I know that we're going to go through this debate again about is it 10 or 15 or 20, but we know for fact, we heard from Mickey Northcutt, who is going to develop the majority of the properties that are on the table right now over what we're discussing, any of these numbers that we're discussing right now. If we change the 10% to 20, it will impact another property, the Senior Center, 5 Broad Street, in such a way that we get nothing out of that redevelopment because the numbers change for them. I have worked in my professional life these spreadsheets where you change a small number, especially this affordability requirement, in such a way that it's no longer financially feasible. So the project could be taken to another developer, or just go to another city and build their affordable units there. If we scare developers away with a higher percentage, we end up with 0% rather than the 10. So is that the risk we're taking here? We know there's one single property that can potentially be affected by this 10 to 20%. It's either we move it to 20 and then risk 0 units, or we keep it as is, and we hear from our community and potentially change it to another number. We can do the bold thing right now, pass it as is, and hear more feedback next week. Less than a week from today. Then maybe 15% could be the sweet spot. But if we say right now it's 20%, and maybe tomorrow the developers in line for that property, they read in the paper, oh, it changed my pro forma. This is no longer financially feasible. I'm pulling my RFP out. Then that 5 Broad Street property will continue to be vacant. Nobody will ever touch it. And even if there's support for the 20% tonight, will the zoning pass if that gets amended? Hearing from my colleagues, will they really end up passing this overlay with that amendment? I'm not so sure. So we're holding people who are looking for homes, whether you're looking for market rate or lower income, moderate income, we're holding these people hostage over a few little numbers here. We still have time to change between now, a first passage and the second passage, and we need to just take the leap and pass this tonight with the 10% affordable units and 80% of area median income. Thank you.
Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make a statement for everybody that I'm not supporting this 20% because it's a feel-good thing. It's not a feel-good thing for me. It's a necessary thing for me. So I have to say that I take a little offense when folks try to put me in that boat. It's necessary. There's no question about it. I can also argue that my colleague from Ward 2 is predicting the future in terms of development, whether it be CDC's development or a private developer's development. We don't know what's going to happen because there's nothing in writing. The only thing that could be in writing is the 20%. And hopefully somebody's going to make a motion to reduce the 80 to 60. That's all we have right now. And I will continue to say, overall, I think we're putting the cart before the horse here. We're having all this discussion about, we can pass this tonight, and then after the meeting on Tuesday, we can come back and change it. And we're going to get inclusionary legislation coming down the road. All of this is a piece of a big conversation that we should be having as one conversation and not in silos. So again, as I said on Tuesday, I'm not going to support this because we need to have a larger conversation. It needs to include everything that involves housing, that involves, the churches. We just need to have a larger conversation, and it needs to be done over a period of time. People talk about these buildings that have been decaying for so long. With all due respect, 5 Broad Street was decaying 15 years ago. The city hasn't put any money into that building. Well, a little bit of money, only to try to keep it a little safe for the seniors that went there. But, I mean, I'm the liaison to the senior center. The stuff I saw there, no. There wasn't an effort to maintain that building. It's not that it's decaying from the time we left it till now. It's been happening for a long time. If it happens for 3 more months, it happens for 3 more months while we have a real, rational, reasonable conversation about this and not in a silo. We need to have a larger conversation. We need to include anything that's related to housing in the conversation and not have a discussion about, well, depending on what happens on Tuesday upcoming, we can at second passage come back and change this and we advertise it, et cetera, et cetera. It just seems backwards to me, that's all.
Council Sargent and Council Troyo.
I'll be quick. Mr. President, whether you're for this proposal or not, our job is to get the best deal we can for the people of Salem. Our job is to see that this is what it's proposed to be. that all these people that have been emailed about this, told it was affordable housing, asked to come to meetings and support affordable housing, 10% is a pittance for that. And these aren't buildings that some developer is coming to Salem, that buys a vacant lot, is gonna build a project and it's 10% affordable. These are buildings that were bought and paid for by taxpayers and by parishioners who are also taxpayers. Okay, I know that the buildings are run down and need to be fixed up, but for what is being asked for a zoning change that affects the whole city, 20% should be an absolute minimum, and a few other things also. And we're being asked to change zoning. Zoning is rock solid. It holds up in court. It costs neighbors $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to challenge it, right? Then we're being told, well, Mickey Northcutt, who I have a lot of respect for, is going to develop this, so it's okay. That's not rock solid. These agreements with the Archdiocese can be changed. They can be assigned. Anybody who's got a mortgage knows your mortgage has been assigned probably 10 times in their life to another bank, okay? It doesn't go to successors and/or assigns. So if we're lucky enough to have Mickey, we're lucky. But if that gets assigned to somebody else or sold, then all of a sudden it's back to less affordable housing or less of a project, or the market rate could be higher. So Mickey could do 90% affordable housing, half low income, 50% affordable. And a lot of people think affordable is low income. It's not. It's Boston rates. It's higher than you think it is. And I think eventually this city should be building some low income housing on our property with our money that's 100% affordable, like a Rainbow Terrace or like a Charter Street. We need to get to that point also, but I don't think 20% is too much to ask for what is being given. Thank you.
Councilor Terrio, then Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. So what we're dealing with this whole discussion that we're quickly going off the rails again on is we're talking about basic math on some of this. So we worked in a process that began back last June and produced a prospective ordinance that was given to us at the end of last year that we held a public hearing, our first of a couple of public hearings on in December. So we're about 3 months into the actual legislation part of things that was designed to try and deal with the immediate problem of 3 old church schools. There's one church school that's abandoned that's in the B5 that doesn't belong to the local diocese. It belongs to the Archdiocese's Planning Office, Urban Affairs is called, and the people who developed 135 Lafayette. They own those buildings. They're in the B5, and they have a completely separate batch of rules that apply to them if and when they ever finally get around to redeveloping that. So we're talking about the other schools that are empty. And because the opportunity came along with the city's own building, we put that into the same category. So the work that was done was to try and come up with a definition that allowed properties that met this criteria, and we increased on Tuesday night, we increased the square footage of buildings somewhat to take a few of the smaller ones out of it and hopefully allay a few fears. Basically, we can even go up another 1,000 square feet or something or whatever, but that these old buildings that had been in use, that were at least 50 years old, had been used for at least 20 years, and had been sometime in the last 20 years had been used for one of these purposes, could be eligible if it's empty today, or if it can be repurposed today, could be eligible to be part of this. So we have 3 church properties that the church plans to retain ownership of, which is really important in figuring out what can happen there. They can't sell these units. They can't sell the buildings. All they're doing is because if they do sell the buildings, all that money from the sale goes to Braintree or wherever the Archdiocese has its offices now. I don't know if they move back to Boston or whatever, but so if they sell the properties, all that money goes to Braintree, assuming the Archdiocese's office is still down there. Not being Catholic, I have no idea. If they lease them instead, they can keep that revenue here in Salem. Within Salem's, you'll have to tell me, is it diocese or parish, or I don't know the terminology. Parish. So they can keep it within the parish here in Salem and benefit the churches here in Salem and benefit the parishioners here in Salem. So by doing this, the structure that they're looking to do it with local developers, with long-term 99-year leases, They can keep that revenue here to benefit the people of Salem. So that's the church's driver in this, trying to actually make these buildings useful locally and keep the money from those buildings locally. And they've selected developers to do it. And my understanding is that Salem Renewal is being proposed to do one of them, to do the one on Jefferson Avenue. And then, as we heard, Mr. Northcutt's our organization, who only does affordable housing and only does lower income housing. That's their job. That's all they do. They don't build market rate condos. They don't assign stuff to be made into market rate condos. They build it and they run it and they house people in it. And they work and they're the landlord. So they're going to be the people who develop Immaculate Conception and St. James. Those are the two of the big buildings that we have all these issues with, and they're amenable to all that. So these are going to be, by and large, these particular properties, the only handful of properties that are really going to be affected by this, are going to be well over this threshold of affordability. But at the same time, we still have one single property, the Broad Street property, which needs rehabilitation, is going to be sold rather than leased, and it's going to be sold with the purpose of ownership. So the developer of that building is going to turn it into condos and is going to sell the condos. And they need to be able to finance that operation. They need to be able to do it, and they have planned that based on a number of 10% and an affordability index of 80% for the 10% affordable that they're doing. Now, those are ownership units. Those aren't rental units. So they're not being managed. They're going to be sold. A couple of them are going to be sold. A few of them will be sold to people with lower income than market rate. And that building is not going to make a significant dent in the city's housing, well, in the city's affordable housing. The other buildings will. And no, we don't have all these agreements in writing yet because we've got a chicken and egg conundrum. The archdiocese, the local Salem parish, is waiting on the guidance from us to finalize all their arrangements. And now we're saying we're waiting to see who's going to actually develop them before we decide what that floor can actually be. And I think, we have to give them something. We have to give them a number that they're going to be able to make happen. And given the parish's intention, in their case, the number is going to be well above 10%. It's going to be above 20%. It's going to be above 50%. So I think putting handcuffs on these, it's fine, and I don't think it's going to affect any of the church properties, but it runs a very significant risk of leaving us burned on Broad Street. And I don't think we should be willing to take that risk. Now, there's a much bigger issue about affordable housing in general and percentages and what we should be doing for new construction. That's a really significant issue. I'm glad that there's a meeting next week about it. I'm glad it's something that we have to be addressing. This is something that a lot of us have been talking about for years, and we're seeing the problems here in the city. We're seeing the way rents are going out of control. We're seeing condo price go out of control. We're seeing 2-bedroom condos going for $400,000 now, in a building. It's amazing and ridiculous how expensive it's gotten, and this is still a bargain compared to a lot of other cities. So real estate has gotten out of control in general. And we do have to see with the limited ability we have to affect these things, we do have to see what we can do to move the lever. That's absolutely something that should be a priority for the administration, for the city council, and for the people who live here. Absolutely. But this is not that problem. This is a very specific problem that we started working on long before the issue of affordability became such a thing that made it onto the city's radar in full. It started almost a year ago, and it really started probably before that, when the church first started looking into development. And this particular solution is one that we should we have spent countless time between committee meetings and council meetings and public hearings. We spent a considerable amount of time fixing things and dealing with the fears of neighborhoods and dealing with the risks and dealing with things like new construction risks and parking issues and all. We put a lot of time into producing an excellent compromise. It's not everything I would have wanted to see in it. It's probably not everything any of us would have wanted to see in it. But it solves an important problem for us, and it lets us take 4 derelict properties and get them into use, get them on the tax rolls, get them productive again, and stop them from being attractive nuisances in neighborhoods. And for that reason, I think we should, at this point, I'm not thinking about amending this in between passages. I'm not thinking about what the future affordability threshold may be for new construction that comes out of our inclusionary housing process. I'm not thinking about those. I'm just thinking about the problem that's at hand. And if you want to call that having it in a silo, I think it's a pretty good silo to have. But it's a problem that we have to solve, and we have a good, effective solution here, and I think it's time to pass it.
Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to be brief. I'm not such an eloquent like a good councilor of Ward 5. I just wanted to bring to the table or to the meetings. 20% is the issue. I don't know if the will on all of my colleagues is to do it backward. I just take it from the good councilor 2, Ward 2. She mentioned that we can change it, we can amend it in 14 days. We need to pass something. If we think that 20% is what holding us to pass it, if we approve 20% now or pass it, can we make an amendment to, right after the forum, to bring it to the 10% or whatever percent we think is necessary? So we can do it backward. If the will is of the body to pass something, if we're thinking that this is very important and we all agree that we need to do something, it's equal. It's a group of people. I mean, we in favor of the 10, some are in favor of the 20. Let's pass it on the 20 or the 15 or the 100, whatever we feel, and then we can bring the amendment. But I think that we need to do something tonight. I'm in favor of passing something that allow us to move forward and address the issue that we had in front of us. We hear from the public, and I think that everybody agreed that we need to have some type of tools to address the issue that we have in Salem. Thank you.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a frustrating conversation, I think. We've been working very, very hard on this together, making lots and lots of compromises. We've gotten to a place where I think we've addressed a lot of neighborhood concerns. We've addressed a lot of public concerns. It's not exactly what any one person wants, but this is a really good product. We've spent many months on it. I think that there are, I've spent a good part, a large percentage of the last year fighting for, going to conferences, learning, reading as much as I could about affordable housing. This is a central issue to me. But I think what is frustrating about this conversation for me is that that if we don't pass this, there's been some confusion about how this addresses affordable housing. If we don't pass this, then literally nobody wins. We all lose. The buildings don't get redeveloped, and the historic preservation doesn't happen. 0% of affordable housing happens. There is no path for any of these things to be redeveloped. There are conversations going on with the city, with developers for all of these properties. It's not a situation where we can just kind of like wait and get every single thing in our minds and in the city all lined up in order to make everything perfect so we can keep moving forward. That's not, I mean, we are a dynamic, living, breathing, moving forward city, and we need to make sure that we are developing these properties that we keep moving forward. If we don't pass this, then all of those discussions fall by the wayside, and I don't know what happens to these properties at that point. But I think we need to listen to the people who are eager. I mean, there are people in this room who are eager for housing and for affordable housing, and this is a conversation I'm excited to have over the next year, but it needs to start here. We need to pass this. We need to pass this.
Councilor Giroux.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to make sure that, something that Councilor O'Keefe always said, that you count the votes. And so what it seems like I'm hearing is that, so there are 3 people, at least 3 colleagues, that would like 20%. The difference between 10% and 20% is maybe 3 units. So we're going to sacrifice, potentially, hundreds of units over 3 units, because if we don't get to 8 votes, this dies. So this would be a horrible hill to die on. So I really hope that people who are fighting for 20% at this point are keeping that in mind. You're sacrificing hundreds of units over a potential, 3, 4 units. We need to pass this as is. We just need to get it done tonight.
Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent.
I'd like to move the question, please, but I kind of not too keen on the math, but if we have 200 units and 10% is 20%, 20% is 40 units. So we're
Not at Broad
just a couple
Street.
of units. We're talking about rezoning the whole city and every building affected, buildings we don't even know about that may be affected. Listen, we're not rezoning Broad Street, with all due respect, Mr. President. We're not rezoning Broad Street. We're asking to rezone the whole city with buildings under this criteria. Some buildings we don't even know about. If you go back and research buildings that have been used for 20 years for religious purposes, things are going to come forward that we don't even know about today. But, we're not doing a special permit for one building. We're being asked to rezone, rezoning with the boundaries of the city of Salem. So we must keep that in mind. Thank you.
Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Councilor Sargent, seconded by Councilor Milo, to increase the affordable unit from 10%.
Roll call vote, please.
Show of hands. Thank you. To increase the affordable limit from 10% to 20%. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
No.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
No.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
No.
Councilor Madore?
No.
Councilor Gerard?
No.
Councilor Fury?
No.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Dibble?
Yes. Thank you. 11 councilors present, 5 voting in the affirmative, 6 voting in the negative. The matter does not carry. Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent and Councilor Torrio.
I will not speak on this at all because for the same reasons, again, in that section. Page 5 of 6 on the top, that the 80% be changed to 60%. No discussion.
Second.
Do we have a second? Thank you.
Ask for a roll call vote, please.
Any further discussion? On the motion by Councilor Sargent, seconded by Councilor Milo. Did you ask for a roll call vote again?
Yes, please.
Yep, sure. Show of hands? Roll call vote. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Second. Councilor Torrio?
No.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
No.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
No.
I
I said no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
No.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Dibble?
Yes. Thank you. We have 11 councilors present, 7 voting in the affirmative, 4 in the negative. The matter carries. Any further discussion?
One last thing, please.
Councilor Sargent.
Anybody else?
Councilor Terrell, was that your hand?
Also, in the same section, the end of section 8.7.8, add a line in because this has been really pushed for affordable housing and for Salem people. So at the end of that section, I'd like to add the wording, last line, these units shall be offered to Salem residents based on a list of Salem residents who sign up. These units shall be assigned to Salem residents first, based on a list of Salem residents who sign up for affordable housing. No discussion.
Do I have a second? Council McCarthy.
Well, if there's no second, then I won't discuss it.
Sorry, it was Council Torrio was next.
I was going to say, that's not a legal amendment, so we've had this covered already. We can't make that exclusion.
Council McCarthy?
If there's no second, there's no reason for discussion.
Council Flynn?
I'll second it.
Second. Seconded by Council. Council McCarthy, then Councilor Gerard.
You had this discussion, you can't do it. It's not lawful, you can't set up a list that eliminates people. It's just, it's not correct. It's unfortunate. You want to take it, we'll take it back an example. I mean, we'll go outside of housing, okay? It's not legal to do it because for the same reason, if you take it to a smaller scale as an example, you can't charge a different rate for somebody to moor their boat in the city of Salem's harbor if you're residential or non-residential. It's the same rate. You used to have a split rate. It was challenged. You can't do it. For the same reason, you can't create a list that is specifically just for Salem people. The intention is great. I agree with it. But legally, we've been told you can't do it. We've already had this discussion. I appreciate the good at-large counsel for trying to bring it in, and I understand his intent, but it's not legal. But I'm not a lawyer, and I don't say that as a lawyer. I say that as from previous discussions that we've had, and it's come up, and it's been voted down previously.
Council Gerard, Council Medora, then Council Sargent.
Thank you. Exactly what the good Ward 1 councilor just said. This is totally illegal, and this is xenophobia right here. I mean, what constitutes a Salem person? So if someone moves to Salem today, then do they become a Salem person? What it's absolutely ridiculous, and it's xenophobia. It's disgusting. It's discrimination. We can't do it. Totally illegal.
Council Medora.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, it is against fair housing law to discriminate against a person's place of origin for housing. And second of all, I can think of so many examples where people have raised their children here, maybe even born here, raised here themselves, were priced out of Salem, moved to Peabody or Beverly or Danvers and wait for that affordable unit so they can move back in, and to say to them, you're not a Salem resident and therefore you do not qualify for this unit. That is discrimination, even though they are Salem people. How do you prove that you are a Salem person? Is it by birthright? Then I'm not a Salem person. So I don't understand how we can qualify someone as a Salem person and still allow this to be legal in our ordinance, and it is not legal. Thank you.
Council Sergeant.
I just might explain that, please, but first of all, if that be the case, then let us please stop saying that we're doing this for Salem residents, that Salem needs affordable housing. We're not saying that the state or the state of the country needs affordable housing, because if we cannot give preference to Salem residents, Salem resident is somebody who has a Salem address. I think we're pretty accurate on our census as who lives in Salem, right? Whether it's been a week or it's been for generations. That's the best we can do as far as that address. But we can't even try to help Salem residents first. And it may be illegal, but we have a right to try. It can be deemed.
Order, please. Order. Quiet down, please.
It can be deemed, but we have a right to try, like we did with the marijuana ordinance or other things. And under section 8.7.11, severability, it's a clear provision for this if it's deemed not to be proper. It says the invalidity of any paragraph, subsection, or provision of this section shall not invalidate any other paragraph, subsection thereof. So, as a move of some kind of civil disobedience, as many people tend to do at times, we have a right to try. We don't necessarily have a right to succeed, but we have a right to try and be told we can't do that. but if we don't try, we never get there. And what are we doing this for if not to try and help Salem's housing crisis? Right? We haven't had people in here from every surrounding city that says they need housing, right? If we're not doing this, if we're doing this for the state, what are we gonna take on all the state's housing things? You don't see, other towns should be taking up their share of affordable housing also, but they're not. We're doing a lot, we're doing way more than our fair share, we're being asked to do more. We should at least have a right to try to get these affordable units to Salem residents first.
Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a taxpayer, I don't feel, as a Salem resident, I want to try and help solve our Salem housing problems. As a resident of Eastern Massachusetts, I know we're part of a much bigger whole than just ourselves. And as a Salem taxpayer, I don't want to waste my money paying to defend a lawsuit on fair housing. So I would like to move the question, please.
Councilor Gerard.
Nope, I didn't do anything.
Okay. Any further discussion? There being none. I'm sorry, Councilor Sargent, did you ask for a roll call vote on that one?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you. On the motion by Councilor Sargent, seconded by Councilor Flynn, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Three hands.
I'm sorry, could I see a show of hands for a roll call vote, please? Thank you. Yes, we do. Done that 3 or 4 times now. So.
Councilor Torrio?
No.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
No.
Councilor Milo?
No.
Councilor McCarthy?
No.
Councilor Madore?
No.
Councilor Gerard?
No.
Councilor Fury?
No.
Councilor Flynn?
No.
Councilor Dominguez?
No.
Councilor Dibble?
No. Eleven councilors present, 1 voting in the affirmative, 10 voting in the negative. The matter does not carry. Any further discussion? Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would actually at this point like to ask for a suspension of the rule, because we can go on and start doing striking, trying to amend things all night long, and I have a feeling that's what's going to be done here. But I'd like to ask for suspension of the rules to invite the mayor up to discuss this, and hopefully she's discussed this in the committee, and I'd like to see if, one more time, perhaps we can get some of the clarity on this put through.
Seeing no objection, Mayor.
Good evening, everyone. Appreciate everyone's time, those who were here twice this week, and obviously all the councilors who have spent a lot of time trying to get to a point where this ordinance is something that you can support. I hope folks realize and recognize that we're trying to put in place, as I've said at some of our prior meetings, an opportunity to see these buildings that are existing, they're not going anywhere as far as we can tell. I don't think we want them to, into a productive reuse mode that will allow for housing to be built, these buildings to be preserved. We hope it will accommodate affordable housing. Even having these as market rate, even if they were all 100% market rate, would be helpful in terms of meeting some of the additional supply challenges that we have. We know in the aggregate, these properties are going to develop significantly more than 10%, and frankly more than 20% affordable housing if we recognize at least 2 of the larger properties that are most likely to be in the first sort of foray are going to be developed by the CDC. So that means we're really talking about the senior center site. I'm a little worried, to be quite honest with you, about a 60% requirement at the 10%, because that's an ownership project, and we touched a little bit. Ownership is really hard to get financing, but it's in place. We'll have to work through it or figure out how to address it. It's going to be sticky. But overall, I really feel like we have a solid ordinance here. We've got properties that are identified. I did share this earlier with the council president. I know there was some concern about these properties not all being aligned on a map, right? There's not an outline around them. And yet when we've done that in the past, frankly, we're fighting a lawsuit right now about a parcel that was redeveloped on Bridge Street that many of you are familiar with, because it was just one parcel on a claim that it was spot zoning. So this was really done with the intention of trying to avoid any potential litigation around spot zoning, but really having a collective effort to ensure that these buildings that have been here for a long time, that at one time served our community, served those parishes, served many, many children, but have been really vacant for a number of years, to be able to put them into productive reuse. Councilor Milo, you're absolutely right with respect to senior center. It hasn't been invested in. We've been trying to build a new senior center for the last 14 years, and we didn't think it made sense to put very, very high demand capital dollars. You know, we don't have that as much money as we'd like to meet all of our capital needs, and to put it into a building that we knew we weren't going to be maintaining. Many of you were here for St. Joseph's. That was the first senior center that was going to be proposed in 2007. So we've been trying to get out of that building. Now we're in a position finally that we are out. Thankfully, these dollars from the sale of the proceeds at the senior center, the old senior center on Broad Street, are going to help support the new CLC on Bridge Street. That was built into the financing model. So I think we've got something that's really good here that's going to allow these buildings to be repurposed, that's going to create some additional housing, that's going to create some additional affordable housing. And I hope we're in a position to get 8 votes for it this evening. We've been at it since July in a series of both upfront public meetings. It's been shaped and shifted and changed and been altered to try and get to a place where people feel comfortable. I don't know that we're going to have all the answers with respect to housing on March 5th. So while I appreciate the concern that there's a larger conversation that needs to happen, and I can't wait to have it. You can see there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of passion around housing in our community. I don't think it's going to be solved or resolved on the 5th. We're talking about a number of tools that are going to be available and strategies. I think we're going to have lots of conversations with lots of packed chambers about accessory dwelling units and inclusionary housing and micro units and public land trust and a whole lot of tools that we're going to need to bring to bear with respect to addressing housing needs in Salem. And that goes hand in hand with transportation, and there'll probably be lots of conversations about that as well. So it may start on the 5th as part of a community conversation, but it's not going to be fully resolved because it's many levers that we're going to have to work on together as a community to address some of the housing challenges. And it is a threat to the character of our community. The governor recently proposed the housing choice legislation again. It's a really critical tool for cities and towns, and we talked about it there. For 400 years, we've got this rich mix of people. Look around, different ages, different incomes. It's under threat, and we can do nothing. If this doesn't pass, that'll be our first foray into doing nothing. And doing nothing is a choice. And that means there's going to be a lot of people who are going to feel pressure to move out of Salem that isn't going to be able to keep up with rising rents, and that is changing the character of our community. We're trying to avoid that from happening and find consensus on thorny issues that there are really no perfect answers to. And the only way we're going to do that is by having the courage to have adult conversations, to have this hard talk back and forth with each other, and hopefully landing in a place that we can get consensus so we can move forward. Nobody wins if the buildings don't get developed. Nobody wins if we don't have this conversation. So there isn't anybody else that can make these changes. It's us. 11 of you, me here, it's before you, right? We can't expect somebody else to decide if these buildings can or cannot be put to good use. And I think the choice is before you. I'm happy to answer questions with respect to technical aspects, the city planners here, if there are any. But for me, it's just about a time to act. And we're the ones who have to act. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Whose matter is this? Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. If there is no further conversation about this matter, my initial, the committee report was to move as amended, as in the discussions in the past hour. The version that we're talking about, for clarity, is the version that everyone has in front of them. It was provided by Mr. Daniel, and we just amended with the elimination of the language with regard to parking in the parking section, and the language where we changed the 80% to 60%. Other than that, this is the document which we are going to vote on right now. Does anyone have any questions of making sure it's clear? But this is the one. And I would just ask Madam City Clerk, do you have a copy of this for the record? Thank you. Then I would ask to move the question.
clarification, Madam City Clerk, does the zoning vote require a roll call vote?
Yes, in 2/3.
Yeah, just want to see, okay, thank you. There, any other discussion? There being none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Torrio.
Yes.
Counselor Sargent.
No.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Milo.
No.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Madore.
Yes.
Counselor Gerard.
Yes.
Counselor Fury.
Yes.
Counselor Flynn.
No.
Counselor Dominguez.
Yes.
Counselor Dibble.
No.
Can you just pass this down for the record, please? Thank you.
11 councils present, 7 voting in the affirmative, 4 in the negative. The matter does not carry.
President, I move immediate reconsideration. If it does not prevail.
Under the motion by Councillor Sargent that the matter does not prevail, all those in favor? Opposed? Sorry, could not see hands. One more time. All those in favor? Opposed? I've got 3 councilors not voting, please.
With reconsideration, move for immediate reconsideration.
Yes.
If it does not prevail.
Under Councillor Sargent's motion for immediate reconsideration in the hopes that it does not prevail, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Excuse me? The matter does not carry.
And the motion for reconsideration does carry.
Right.
I mean, someone could reconsider tomorrow.
So it,
Yeah. Somebody could file for reconsideration tomorrow.
All right, where are we going on the agenda?
doesn't matter.
Councilor Torrio.
The next thing.
Whatever's next.
Page 9, I guess, is that right?
No, the next committee report.
No, it's page
Back
9.
to page 9.
Yeah, we did my
Page 9, communications from the mayor.
Sure.
Yeah.
Communications from the mayor.
No. Can we do my committee report on page 15, please?
Page 15. Councilor Peterson requests to go out of order to page 15. Committee reports. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, February 14th, 2019. The Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of reducing the qualifying age from 70 to 65 and adjusting the maximum asset limit for married couples per Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Clause 41C, has considered the matter and would recommend approval.
On the acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. On adoption of the recommendation, Councilor Peterson. Under discussion.
I recommend that we approve this. This is to allow more of our seniors to qualify for exemption on their taxes.
Any further discussion? There being none. On the adoption of the recommendation by Councilor Peterson, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. So voted. Okay, what is the pleasure? Return back to page 9. Motion, rather?
So moved.
We're on to page 9. Communications from the mayor.
We have a home rule petition to establish a means-tested senior citizen property tax exemption. Petition to...
Waive the reading.
Councilor Peterson.
Waive the reading.
Already said that.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Yes, this is, the matter that we just took up was kind of a precursor to this, to expand the pool, and this is to authorize a means-tested senior citizen property tax exemption.
Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor Peterson's motion for adoption, all those in favor?
It's a
Roll call vote.
Sorry, roll call vote. On Councilor Peterson's motion for adoption, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Torrio?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Peterson?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Madore?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Counselor Dibble.
Yes. Thank you. 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Mayor's informational page, none. And let's see, where do we leave off now?
Second item, page 12.
Motion, orders, and resolutions. Madam City Clerk.
Counselor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Flynn.
In City Council, February 28, 2019, ordered that the Director of Park, Recreation, and Community Services raise the Irish flag at Raleigh Plaza on March 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th, 2019, in honor of St. Patrick's Day.
Under discussion?
This is just a tradition that the former Ward 4 Councilor Lenny O'Leary started, and we'd just like to keep going.
Any further discussion?
No.
There being none. On the matter, on the motion by Councilor Flynn, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Peterson.
President, in the City of Salem and City Council, February 28, 2019, ordered that the fiscal year 2019 monthly financial report dated January 31st, 2019 be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
I'm sorry?
No discussion.
Any further discussion?
Move for adoption.
There being no further discussion, on the motion by Councilor Peterson, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, February 28, 2019, ordered that the Committee for Administration and Finance, co-hosted with the Committee of the Whole, meet to discuss the fees and usage policies of municipally controlled meeting spaces in Salem, and that the following be invited: the mayor or her representative, the city solicitor or her representative, the director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Services, director of the Salem Public Schools, Buildings and Grounds Department, and the community art planner.
Under discussion?
Yes, thank you. I submitted this because I've been finding it myself, but also hearing from a lot of neighborhood groups and other groups in the city that it's confusing to understand how to reserve space, and also that there's a potentially unintended kind of access to information issue going on, because there is some inconsistent charging for different spaces, and it's becoming difficult for neighborhood groups to meet to gather for city business.
Any further discussion?
I don't know, but I move for adoption.
Any further discussion? There being none. On the matter by Councilor Peterson, all those in favor? Opposed? So voted. Okay. Committee reports. Looks like first one, Councilor McCarthy. I think we skipped that one.
No, the first one we have to do.
City of Salem City Council, February 28, 2019. The Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of granting certain licenses tag day, has considered said matter and recommend the following licenses be granted tag days: Salem High School boys and girls track, Salem High girls soccer.
On the acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. On the adoption of the recommendation, Councilor McCarthy.
No discussion.
Any further discussion? Nope. Being none. On the adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, further communications from, communications from city officials.
We have a communication from the Human Resources Director submitting a mayoral salary survey of surrounding cities and towns.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance.
Under discussion?
No discussion. Well, This was just something that had come up in one of our previous committee meetings, and some people would like to see the salary survey.
Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Council Peterson to refer the matter to committee, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Petitions.
We have a request from North Shore Pride to have, sell, and consume beer and liquor on the Salem Common on June 22nd, 2019. This is the same day as the Pride Parade.
Councilman Dorff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for this to be granted.
Under discussion?
Yes, very quickly. We love the Pride Parade and June being Pride Month, and this is an event that we are very happy to host as part of Pride Month and the parade itself. And I look through the application, all checks out as usual. So invite everyone to join the festivities on the June 22nd on Salem Common, and looking forward to it.
Any further discussion? No. There being none. On Councilor Mador's motion for adoption, for there be, I'm sorry, on Councilor Mador's motion that it be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have the following license applications for public guides, taxi cab limos, and taxi operators.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that be granted.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? Nope. There being none. On Councilor McCarthy's motion that they be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have 4 drain layer contract operator license applications.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that be granted.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
There being none. On Councilor McCarthy's motion that they be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have the following list of claims.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor McCarthy's motion that the matter be referred to Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Unfinished business, none. Councilor Fury.
A motion to adjourn, Mr. President.
Motion adjourned. All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned.